Boxing, episode 28. 28. I can't believe it, boys. 28. Big fight night this week. Coming up, biggest fight of the year. We're going to talk about that later. We got some Bruising news to take care of. I am Raider Live, of course. Start off with the introductions here. We're going to change it up a little bit this week because it is officially the Judge's birthday. So, Judge, happy birthday, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Way to give yourself a hand. All right. And even though it's the Judge's birthday, Filthy Rich, I have a present for you. Because we all know what happened. We all know what you're going to talk about. So my present to you this week is I'm going to mute the Judge, and I'm going to mute myself. Go ahead.
Well, if you're still with me now, congratulations to LeBron James. That's 17 titles for the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James on his fourth Finals MVP. Greatest basketball player of all time. We're going to get there next year. And speaking of getting there next year, New York Yankees, we're going to get them next year. You best believe that. I'm not muted yet, so I must be still going. Go Yankees, go Lakers. Ah!
All right. There you go. Congratulations on that. And congratulations, LeBron. Congratulations, Yankees. Yada, yada, yada. But happy birthday, James. And boys, ready for some Bruising news? You ready to get into this? Because we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Ring that bell.
Happy birthday,
right.
James.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, Bruising news. First thing we got to do is crack a brew in because I lost that stupid, silly bet. I am drinking the finest Mexico has to offer, Tecate beer, straight out of the bottle. It is the original Tecate, the original. We don't go with that new age stuff like the Judge did a few weeks ago. We go with the original here. So, gentlemen, cheers.
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 Tastes like beer filtered through a diaper.
It's fantastic. Man, what are you, Rich? Are you double fisting right there? What just happened?
That's 17 titles. You know what I mean? 17. LeBron James, baby.
Fair enough.
Man, you're
he's
really
getting turned
I gave you that present. Now you're just really trying to make me mute you, aren't you? Just really trying to do it.
Hey, you can blame some of that on me, man. I didn't know he was just powering through right now, man. The cider is live.
All right, well, first thing we got to talk about, of course, is the big news in boxing this week, besides the Lomancho Lopez fight that's coming up this weekend, is that Wilder Fury is off. Boys, what happened, first off, and who's to blame? James, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, man. This thing seems to go back and forth. They planned on a December date that was not tentative, so nothing was actually scheduled for a while, and then they determined that December 19th was agreed upon. Then there was a conflict with college football championships, so they needed to move it again, and they wanted to move it, I guess it was Wilder's camp wants to move it to 2021, 100%. Fury said that he has had enough of this and that he is done. Enough is enough. I am moving on. So technically, he's not contractually obligated to have this third match. And the deadline to reschedule it was actually, Friday, and it expired. So I'm not really sure. I mean, it looks like Fury's just fed up with the promoting game.
Well, I've heard that, there's three sides to every story. There's one side, the other side, and the truth. And we may never get to the truth of what actually happened here. But I'm curious what you guys think of who's to blame on this. Filthy Rich, who do you think is to blame? And actually, this is actually something that we all said we didn't want to see this third fight anyway. So, I mean, it's not really that big a deal. But Filthy Rich, who's to blame that we're not getting this fight?
So, yeah, I think James covered it pretty well on what happened, at least on that aspect. Now, who is to blame? If I'm responsible for covering this one, I'm not blaming college football. I'm not blaming anyone like that. I would say the money is to be blamed because the money just simply isn't there. I think there's another Wilder is not the draw we all think he is here in the States. I think Tyson Fury, the reason fights don't get made is because money gets in the way. So Tyson Fury has to move on with his career. He's beaten this guy twice. It's going to be another, in my opinion, it will be another beating. I think it's time for him to just face someone else. Hold on to that lineage and take a scrub. Just keep the lineage intact. Let Joshua get past Pulev if that happens, because Pulev is not a walkover, and that'll set up a big UK showdown.
Probably, I think they agreed to fight twice already in 2021, right? Fury and Joshua.
I've read those reports, and I also read reports that Wilder Fury 3 is going to happen. So I'm not putting much stock into these reports saying that they'll fight twice, but they are saying Wembley Stadium, I believe both times in 2021. And the money is there. I think they have agreed to a 50-50 split, which these days you can't get that. But those guys are such big draws across the pond that you can't turn it down either. So I'm glad that fight is going to happen. I just don't know what's next for Wilder or Fury.
Well, it's actually a nice transition to our next news topic. Who should their next opponents be? Who should Fury be fighting next as his scrub fight before he fights Joshua? And who should Wilder be fighting? We've talked in the past that maybe he should be fighting Ortiz or Ruiz. Those are both out there. Does he fight the winner of Dillian White and Povetkin? Does he go that route? Judge, what do you think Rich, who do you think his next opponent should be?
So I think with Fury, his next, let's see. So he's with Top Rank now. Ife Igjagba, I'm not saying makes the most sense, but that's probably the one that's easiest to make happen. I think Ife Igjagba needs to be protected. I don't think he can beat Fury right now. I think in the few coming years he probably can, but Ife Igjagba is the easy one to make happen. Who do I want to see him fight, or maybe who he should fight? Again, somebody easy. Like I know Charles Martin is. I shouldn't say easy, but Charles Martin is one of the top 5 guys in line that is likely to fight him. I know Oscar Rivas is on that list. Both those guys, I think Rivas puts up a better fight, but just, again, protect that lineage. Just take someone like a Charles Martin, or even do an Otto Wallin rematch, because Otto Wallin handled Fury pretty well, bloodied him up pretty well. Wallin wants a rematch. Give him the rematch. Go out there and dominate that fight. Mr. Fury, go out there and dominate that fight the way Joshua dominated his rematch against, what's the guy's name? Ruiz. So, yeah, those are, I don't know how many names I just threw out there, but he has options, but his main objective is to protect the lineage.
Well, if he's going to protect the lineage, Effia Jagba, that's a tough little fight to have. I mean, that's not one you want to take on short notice. An Effia Jagba fight. I mean, he's young, but he's dangerous. He's definitely dangerous.
I think he beats Jagba.
I do too, but I just think it's more of a dangerous fight. I mean, maybe an Oscar Rivas wouldn't be as bad. Maybe Michael Hunter. I don't know. What do you think, Judge?
I mean, Fury's literally been training for a fight to happen in December. He's stated he's ready to fight now. He doesn't want to wait. He's been training. He doesn't want to waste his training. He wants to fight. You want to talk about, again, I agree that he needs to keep his lineage alive. He needs to make fights so that Joshua fight is just, it blows up England. That England just implodes on itself, because that's probably what's going to happen. I mean, if Wembley Stadium with 100,000 people can fit in that stadium, Joshua sold it out once, both UK fighters. Woo! I mean, that's going to be that'll be the fight of the year when it happens, I think, for sure. As far as to who Fury should fight, I mean, they keep saying that Cabello's is the rumored fight that's going to happen. Jagba, I kind of agree with Raider Live that it's a little he's still going to beat him, but I think it's dangerous. I mean, Rivas I think is a little dangerous too, but Martin and Hunter. I think those guys are probably a lot easier. I think he'd probably take on Wallen. Vaudin. Sorry. Vaudin a lot easier too. Although he did get one hell of a cut over his eye in that fight too. But yeah, I mean, he's just got to protect the lineage. The fight that everyone wants to see is Fury Joshua.
Well, we've all talked about that. Fury's got to protect this thing. Wilder's in the opposite position where he needs to prove himself again. He needs to prove himself as a big, bad fighter, someone that isn't just a one-trick pony. So he's got to take a risk on a bigger fighter, I think. Who do you guys think that Wilder should be taking on next? Judge, we'll start with you on this one.
That's a good one. I think Wilder White. If White can come back and beat Povetkin, which, I mean, I know I'm pretty high on Povetkin, but White was handling him pretty well until that fourth round, before that fourth round. I think that's going to be a dangerous. I mean, he could even fight Ruiz too. Like Wilder can fight Ruiz. I don't think Ruiz, if he learned from that loss, that's going to be a problem for Wilder. Although I don't think it'll be as big of a problem for real. But I mean, he's got to fight someone like that. I mean, even I guess a Rivas, even that's a bigger type name. But no one really stands out for me besides Ruiz and White.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting. You did say, you predicted, though, when Povetkin gets past round 4, he wins. So, I mean, that's what he did. So, Filthy Rich, who do you think that Wilder should be fighting next to get his name back out there?
Well, I'm not going to let you get away with saying Oscar Rivas is not as dangerous as Ife Ajagba. I think, actually, Oscar Rivas is more dangerous than Ife Ajagba when it comes to the Fury thing. Now, going into Wilder, I think Andy Ruiz is the answer on this one. This is one where he is dangerous enough where Wilder can beat this guy and trash talk his way into a Joshua fight. I beat the guy who beat you already. Yeah, we all know Joshua beat him the second time, but this is a way for Wilder to trash talk his way into a fight with Anthony Joshua. So Andy Ruiz would be the guy I think would be an exciting fight. I also think a third Ortiz fight would be okay because, again, the second fight, I had Ortiz winning those 7 rounds before getting knocked out by Wilder. So that's going to make a good fight. I think Ortiz is probably past his prime at this point. I don't know what he has lined up for his future, but Wilder and Ruiz is easy to make. They're both on that PBC banner. Ortiz, I don't know where he is, but I think that fight is possible to make as well. But those would be the 2 guys I would like to see Wilder step in the ring with next.
I'm surprised that neither of you said the one that I think that he should go to because it's
Amir Khan?
No, no, it wasn't. But thank you for bringing that up. No, I mean, if you think about Wilder needs something, he needs a prove it fight. Who else needs a prove it fight? Usyk. Usyk needs a prove it fight. That one would be some money in that fight right there. You want to get some money? Usyk versus Wilder, that's going to make money.
That's
thoughts.
Fair enough, man. I keep forgetting that Usyk's a heavyweight, and the fact that he's considered like the top contender to a lot of stuff when he's only fought Chaz Witherspoon. Fair enough, Raider. That's a touche on that one. You want to bring up a bunch of money at least, or at least a test. We have no idea. That's fair. That's fair.
You could promote that as these guys both need a win. They both need to prove it. They need to prove their worth right now. Wilder needs to prove that he can still there. Usyk needs to prove that he belongs in the heavyweights. So, I mean, the promotion writes itself right there. And Filthy Rich, I know you're a big Usyk guy. What do you think?
I'm a big everyone guy, but I hate to admit this, but I think you're right on this one. I think Usyk needs to prove that he belongs in the division, and this is a name big enough for Wilder to prove that I have not just beaten 40 scrubs. I can hang with the best of them, and putting Usyk out there, it's a good call, man.
Hey, I get one once in a while.
Yeah, this is it. You get one a year. This is it. Congrats.
I got the
I'll
one.
drink
I
to
got the
that.
one.
I'll drink to that.
Do I have to drink to that?
Yes,
Yes.
you do. That Tecate's got your brain functioning.
Ugh. Ugh.
Oh, that's what it is.
It's making me be bolder.
Oh.
All right, let's move on to the next bit of news here because we got to get to the big news of the weekend, the Bruising Previews. Oh, the Bruising Previews coming up. But the last bit of news we're going to touch on is Frampton versus Herring is on. Herring claims he's getting a lot of backlash for the Frampton fight. Guys, what's the big issue here? Rich, we'll start with you.
I don't think there is an issue. I think this is just a way to push this fight onto the viewers or to the audience. It's a way to keep his name. It's not even irrelevant. He doesn't need to keep his name relevant. He is a relevant fighter. Frampton is a good opponent. I don't know what the beef is. I don't know what the commotion is. Shakur Stevenson's name was not brought up, and I know we touched on this about Shakur Stevenson wanted to be the number one contender and didn't get the nod from one of the alphabet governing bodies, but I don't know what the commotion is. Herring Frampton is a legit fight for both guys. Winner gets Shakur Stevenson. I don't see a problem. I don't know what Herring's talking about here.
Well, is this going to be Herring's last fight, though? Does the winner get Stevenson? I mean, Herring was talking about retiring before this fight got.
Everyone talks about retiring. They never mean it. Football, when you talk retiring, you're already retired. But in boxing, retiring is a way to say, hey, aren't you going to miss me? And then the big dollars come in when you announce you're coming out. Didn't Broner just retire? I mean, come on. These retirements don't mean anything.
Well, two guys I hope never retire are you two guys because boxing needs both you guys. You guys are internet stars.
I hope
what do you
Amir
think
Khan
about
doesn't retire.
Two. By the way, if you see our awesome new Amir Khan photos, because we follow him now on Instagram, and we have an Instagram now, Bruising Boxing. Check that out below. But James, what do you think about this Frampton Herring fight? Are you excited for this one? What do you think? Herring's going off. Does he need to be going off?
I've read the tweets and I agree with Rich. I am not really sure where Herring is coming from on any of this, how he feels like he's getting disrespected or people are changing their story.
Well, I think he's getting disrespected because of how his last fight ended. How he took the disqualification win like 3 rounds after the cut happened. I think a lot of people are talking about how poorly that match was handled, including Filthy Rich. I watched that at your house, and we both said, this is ridiculous. But
And
I think
I
that's
kicked
kind
you
of
out.
where they... Yeah, that's true.
No, that's not true. That did not happen.
I don't know. He says that people are attacking his character, and I'm not seeing it. So maybe I'm just not reading between the lines. Maybe there's something different or behind the scenes that's just not being brought up. But I mean, like I said, Shakur Stevenson was real up that he was going to be the number one contender, was going to get this fight to get Herring's belt. That didn't happen. It's now on Frampton. That's ready to rock. They're going to make something happen. I mean, it's a fight I'd watch, but I'm not really too excited about it. To me personally, I think Frampton will probably take him down.
I don't think either of these guys can beat Shakur Stevenson. That's just the way I look at it. You guys, what do you think?
I mean, I kind of agree with James almost on every single thing. And even with you, Raider Live, I actually agree with you again. That Tecate's working wonders for you. So
I'm about to pop the second bottle here, just so you guys know. I went
Ooh.
above and beyond what Judge Jimmy James did. I didn't just drink the one. I'm on my second one.
So
It's brain juice.
sure seems like it. So, well, you know what they say: if you had 2 brains, you'd be twice as stupid. Not you, but anyways, that's not you. I don't know why I brought that up. So, as far as like Herring's last fight, yeah, there's probably a lot of truth to that. That didn't even cross my mind that he's probably getting backlash from the way that fight ended but he had nothing to do with that. That is on Nevada rules or the WBC, whoever it was. That is their rules. There's nothing he can do about that. He needs to move on from that. As far as James says, Frampton winning this fight, I think Frampton beats Jamel Herring. I shouldn't say I'm not impressed. He's a good fighter, but he's had a lot of these questionable fights go in his favor. I think Frampton wins this fight. And if there is a match with Shakur Stevenson in the future, this will be Shakur Stevenson's first real test. Frampton is known to just look past. Frampton's going to put up a fight. He had a couple good duels with Leo Santa Cruz. This basically, I'm not saying it sets up anything for Shakur and Santa Cruz, but the way Frampton dealt with Santa Cruz both times, this shows what Shakur has to look forward to in this brand new division he's stepping in.
So you think Shakur wins the fight regardless?
I do think Shakur would win this fight. He's just a defensive specialist. I don't think I've ever seen anything like him, and he's 22 years old. He's got a long career ahead of him.
A very exciting career. Maybe we'll spotlight him here on a future thing. But that's not what it's time for. It's time for brews and previews. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Get into it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, brews and previews. We do this segment right before any big pay-per-view. And, gentlemen, this weekend, tomorrow, if you're listening to this, is the biggest fight of 2020. And thank goodness 2020 is almost over, by the way. But the biggest fight for sure, probably fight of the year, maybe even fight of next year. It's Lomanchenko versus Lopez. We're going to talk about the undercard. We're going to talk about the main event. We're going to break it all down. Let's start with the first undercard fight here, though. We got Vargas. He'll be taking on Kendo Castaneda. Rich, I know you know a little bit about this one. Why don't you start us off about what to look for in this Vargas-Castaneda fight?
Well, look, this is what I can tell you. These guys on paper are very similar. Both 17 wins, and one is Vargas 17-1 with 9 knockouts. 17-1 with 9 knockouts. Castaneda is 17-2 with 8 knockouts. This is going to be boring because it's a southpaw versus an orthodox fighter, and we know how those fights play out. It's just a slow, boring chess match. I like Vargas in this fight. I like his footwork and his technique, his head movement, and he has some powerful uppercuts. This is a super lightweight fight. It'll be good enough, but again, and history tells you when a southpaw meets an orthodox fighter, it tends to be a boring fight.
Yeah, but it'll be a nice little appetizer for us to start the night with.
Absolutely.
We won't be totally drunk at that point, but we may be. Got a good buzz on. Judge, what do you think about that fight, Vargas and Castaneda?
Well, I can see why Rich likes Vargas because his favorite pro sports team is the New York Yankees. So that makes a lot of sense.
You live in Minnesota, Rich. Come on.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, for these two guys, Vargas is the prospect. He's only 22. Castaneda is only 26, not old by any accounts. But I probably agree with Rich. Vargas is probably going to win. Seems like the better fighter. He's the up-and-comer. Some interesting side notes with this stuff, though. Vargas, in his last fight, actually lost his 2 front teeth, even though he dominated a fight. And I mean dominated a fight. He lost his 2 front teeth.
And that's why Filthy Rich likes him, though, because it reminds him of his favorite Christmas song and his favorite holiday, right?
Fair enough. Like, where's the Christmas music? Rich, you don't even have Christmas lights up in the background. I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised right now. It's October. You should have that up by now.
Not only I'm surprised, but I'm a little offended. He doesn't have that up yet.
That's pretty good. But
tune in next week.
The only thing I really have to say about Castaneda is, I mean, he's still probably someone who's going to put up some sort of a show. I do understand the orthodox southpaw matchup, but Castaneda in his last fight actually took Jose Zapata the distance, lost by unanimous decision. And Zapata was the one who just fought Ivan Baranchuk, who had the crazy 8 knockdowns, 4 apiece, before he put Baranchuk into Dreamland. If you haven't seen that fight, yes, 8. Technically 9, but they didn't count it. One was a slip. I count 9. But either way, he put Baranchuk into Night. That was so far the most entertaining fight that I've watched in 2020. I recommend watching that, but those are otherwise than that, with those 2 fighters, it's probably going to be pretty mundane, just like Rich said.
How do you have 9 knockdowns without it getting stopped?
It did get stopped.
I was just saying, how do you not get stopped before 9 knockdowns happen?
Hey, it went 5 rounds, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Just to not confuse the viewer, one person did not get knocked down 5 times or 9 times.
Nope.
4 knockdowns for one guy, 4 for the other guy. That's the way it went. That was the best fight I've seen in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen that fight. I was confused. I thought you meant one guy got knocked down 9 times, and that's what
No. That's
what I was confused on.
Nope, 4 and 4. I say
Yeah.
5 and 4. Either way, it was, and these guys are not by any means prone to being knocked down at all. So that's what was crazy about this. That's why it made it such a great fight. So I don't know, Raider Live. If you haven't watched this yet, man,
I haven't watched that one.
You know what you're doing after the show.
Actually, I think we should probably do that as an appetizer on Saturday. Maybe we'll watch that fight to start, get our blood flowing a little bit, because I definitely want to see that. That sounds like an amazing fight. I have not seen that fight yet. I also have Vargas in that fight. But we'll see what happens. All right, let's move on to the second undercard fight. Super middleweight Edgar Berlanga is taking on Linnell Bellows. James's guy, Berlanga, is fighting. I know you're chomping at the bit here to tell us a little bit about your guy, Berlanga, Judge. So why don't you go ahead, birthday boy, and tell us a little bit about this undercard fight, what to look for.
The chosen one. Edgar Berlanga. Here's a good question. Here's a question I have to ask you guys. Do you know what hasn't been seen in any of Berlanga's 14 fights?
Amir Khan.
Well, I left the question open. They didn't know an answer, and fair enough. Wow, that's 3. That's 3 that show Rich.
I don't think he's fought Amir Khan, has he?
No, he hasn't. But what's not been seen in any of these fights so far? Round 2. This man is 14-0 with 14 knockouts, all in the first round. This guy excites me. When I started watching him back in July and the Oscar Valdez, Jason Velez undercard, he looks like a beast. He's trained by Rozier, who's trained the likes of Algieri, Comey, Andrade, and Daniel Jacobs.
How old is he?
He's young. I don't know his exact age. I think he's 22. That could be wrong. Why don't somebody fact check that for me?
No, I think that is right. I think he's about 22. I think he was born in 98. His birthday is in November, I believe.
Okay. But he spars with the Lowenchenko on the regular and goes distances with this guy. I think this is going to be somebody that is going to be a big name in the future. And to be honest, I think that this guy, with what I've seen so far, because I went back and watched some of these other fights that I did not get to see, I think this guy is going to be the next Triple G if he keeps honing his skills. Wow. He has power, forward movement, doesn't really get hit, and just it is disgusting power at super middleweight, man. If you've never seen him, tune in at least for this one or watches any of his last fights. It's only going to take you like 45 seconds, so don't even worry about it. You can watch all his fights in probably like 5 minutes. Yeah. But I'm super excited about this guy. Rich, do you ever seen anything about Berlanga?
Yeah, well, I actually did know that because his last fight, it was going to be the first time it went to the second round, but he got him on the ropes with like 10 seconds left and just wailed on him, and that was it. The ref did stop the fight to end it in the first round. The only notes I have on this one is I mean, this one is set up for another first-round knockout. He's 12 years younger than Bellows, and Bellows has, 5 losses on his record with fewer knockouts than Berlanga. Berlanga's clearly the bigger guy at 6'1", but that body is something different. That body tells you how big he is going to the ring. This one is actually, I believe, going to open up the show. It's going to open up the main card.
I'm interested to see. You say he's the next Triple G, but we don't know if he has the Triple G chin because he never makes it past round 1. Triple G's chin is legendary for sure, but you're saying the power is Triple G-esque.
He is a forward mover. Triple G put plenty of people out real early on his little reign of 28 knockouts in a row. This guy's still young. I don't see many flaws. But yes, his chin is something that needs to be tested. Definitely not going to be tested this fight. But hey, man, if he just keeps knocking people out like this, he's going to get a big name fight real quick.
So all you gamblers on this one, take the under on this one, apparently. The under on the rounds. Do you guys have anything about Bellows? I don't know anything about Linnell Bellows. I don't. Is he just kind of a punching bag, a heavy bag for him, basically, to show how good Berlanga is?
Yeah, I'm not going to disrespect anyone, but he's kind of there to get a paycheck. I think that's going to be it for him.
It's kind of to spotlight Berlanga and show how good he is.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next undercard fight that we want to talk about here. It's a 140-pound matchup between undefeated Arnold Barboza Jr. versus once beaten Alex Sausagido, who apparently didn't take the judge's nickname of the Sauce, but he really should with that name. James, let's start with you, because I know you're upset that he doesn't take your nickname of the Sauce, but what should we look for in this fight here? Barboza versus Sausagido.
I mean, Sausagido.
Sausagido.
Undefeated fighter with going against a fighter who has 1 loss. This is, like Richie said, that the other fight was going to lead off. This is technically the co-feature, or not the co-feature, but the
sub-main event kind
sub-main
of
event deal.
Right.
Which, I can see that. They're not terribly old. They're 26 and 28. Barboza being the older guy, but he doesn't really have knockout power. Neither does. Sausagido, I guess, does have better knockout power, but it'll be an interesting fight to watch. This is probably the fight that I don't really matter to me real much about. However, one interesting note is Sausagido's only loss was to Maurice Hooker.
for the title, right?
Yeah, it was for a title. He dropped him in the 7th. What was interesting, though, is that he actually dropped Hooker with a mean right hook in the 2nd and got back up. And still got taken down by Hooker, but I had Hooker as a higher rate in the 140 at one point. I don't know anymore, but I don't know. I really don't have much else to touch on this one though. But I'm gonna have to pass this one off to Rich.
Well, before you pass it off to Rich, I'm kind of surprised at that, because I think this is going to be one of the best, closest fights on the card. It should be. I don't know who's going to win this fight. I really don't. Filthy Rich, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think, on paper, these guys are evenly matched. They're about the same height. Obviously, we're on the same weight class. Both orthodox fighters. I give Sausagido the edge a little bit. Twice as many knockouts as Barboza, and trained by Abel Sanchez. We were just talking about Golovkin last. We were making comparisons with Golovkin for the last fight with Berlanga, but Sausagido's with Abel Sanchez. I think that he is the apple card on this one. I can see this one going the distance. I can see this being a bunch of 9-10, very, very close rounds, but I do think Sausagido pulls this one off. I don't know how. I know a lot of these fights we want to talk about what's next for these guys. I have no idea what's going to be next for either one of these guys. So yeah, it's a fight to kill time. I'm not calling it a bathroom break fight, but I'm not expecting a lot of action. I'm not expecting a lot of knockdowns. I'm prepared for like a technical fight. And again, it's probably going to go the distance. If you're not up for going the distance, man, I don't know what to tell you.
We all
Well, as
love
true
cake.
fans of boxing, we love that watching the sweet science. And this is definitely going to be a sweet science style of fight. You know, it's going to be a chess match, as Judge Jimmy James said earlier. You know, so I'm excited for that one actually because I really don't know who's going to win. I actually lean Barboza a little bit, but as I said, it's a toss up. What do you think, Judge? Who's going to win that fight? You didn't say who's going to win.
No, I mean, the more I think about it, if probably Sausagido, if he's being trained by Sanchez, I have a high respect for Abel Sanchez and what he does to the game and what he brings out of his boxers. It's just like I said, Sausagido dropped Hooker, who I had pretty high regards for at one point. So I think Sausagido is going to beat Barboza.
That's fair. I mean, I do love Abel Sanchez as well. I wish Triple G would go back to him for one more Canelo fight, you know, a la Rocky 3. But
where are you?
It is what it is. We should definitely do that. But, boys, it's time to talk about what everyone's coming here to talk about, what we've all been waiting for. It's Christmas coming October. It's the greatest fight of the year. As you see, James is wearing his Lomanchenko shirt. Filthy Rich is wearing the colors of the Ukraine as well. If you're listening to us on podcasts, if you're listening to us on podcasts, you can't see that, but you should check us out on YouTube.
These were Lakers colors.
I don't see no purple, bud.
This was purple when I first bought it. I don't know what happened.
You gotta wash that on cold.
Wash everything on cold. My mother taught me that a long time ago. She says you'll never have colors run if you wash everything on cold. But
done with you.
Since we're done talking about laundry, let's talk about the real main event, the fight of the year, the one that everyone wants to talk about, the one that everyone that subscribes to us wants to hear about. Lomancho versus Lopez. What's going to happen? Who's going to win? I don't even know. I mean, I obviously we're all on Team Loma here, but we all three of us agree we think it could go either way. We're all leaning Loma. Obviously, we're all big Loma fans. Judge, let me start with you here real fast. What are some things to look for in this fight about the Lomanchenko Lopez? What are some little things for the common fan just to look for?
Well, it's going to be tough because you got to – I could talk a lot about this one.
Well, we can. Let's talk a lot about it. These are two different styles is what you're going to have to understand. Lomanchenko is a tactician, a speedster, a precision fighter. Lopez is more of your power shot fighter. Not to say that he doesn't have flashes of precision, but they are definitely two different styles, 100%. The big thing that I see between these guys is just how they train. These are both products of their father. Papachenko is definitely a speed and conditioning type of guy, and he truly believes that the mind can overcome any physical weakness that your body that your body feels. That he doesn't believe that your body has any limitations. It's all in your mind. So very unorthodox, but it works for him, and he's 100%. Loma's 100% up on his father's methods. Teofimo, not the same. His dad is all about I'm just gonna knock your head off, and good luck after you get hit with one of these punches, which is definitely two different styles. So Loma's gonna look for a weakness and exploit it. Lopez is probably gonna come forward and try to hit you to disrupt your game. But those are probably the two biggest things that I can see between this fight that you're going to have to watch for is how are these guys going to react to what they know and what they've seen. Does it translate into the ring to the same thing that we all expect to see? Filthy Rich, what do you think? What are some things that we have to look for?
Again, this is going to be one of those. It's not going to be a boring fight, but we have a southpaw versus an orthodox, and we know how these fights go. However, Lomanchenko has mastered the art of beating these orthodox guys. I can see Lomachenko running circles around Lopez. I know he has claimed that Teofimo Lopez has landed lucky punches, which really gets under Lopez's skin. And Lopez is looking for a couple lucky punches. I don't think Lomachenko's never been knocked out. This could be the fight he gets knocked out. Lopez has that power. He is bigger than Lomachenko. Lomachenko keeps taking these bigger opponents. He's not afraid to back down. I think he's in the right mindset. I don't think he's looking at this as a fight, but he's looking at this as a boxing match. And Lomachenko is the most skilled boxer I've seen since Roy Jones Jr. I think Loma wins this fight, but if
we'll get into the predictions part later.
Okay.
We're just looking for things that you guys could specifically look for that, like what are let me ask it a different way to you guys. What are both fighters going to try to do to make themselves comfortable in the fight? What are if we see X happening, this person's winning. Like, what is the thing that they're going to try to institute for their game plan? What is one thing that if we see Loma doing this, that means his game plan is working? If we see Lopez doing this, that means his game plan is working. Filthy Rich, you know what I'm talking about? We'll start with you.
So Lomachenko just has to run circles. He just has to be on his footwork, and that's it. As long as he avoids getting punched by that killer right hand from Lopez, he's going to be fine. That's the way Lopez wins. Lopez needs to land that killer right punch. He does that 2 or 3 times in one round. I could see the ref going in for a stoppage. If you can get Loma on the ropes and just start wailing on him for no reason, the ref may stop this fight. That's the one thing I wouldn't say I worry about, but that's how Lopez wins this fight.
What do you think, James? What are some things that we need to look for game plans?
Look, Lopez has stated on a couple occasions that he doesn't watch his opponent's previous fights. He lets his dad, his trainer, watch that and tell him what he needs to do. That's what Teofimo has said. I don't know if Loma watches Lopez's fights. He's obviously seen one because he said that the Comey shot was just a lucky punch that his landed before Comey's landed. That's the reason why Lopez beat Comey. If we're going to talk about this, Teofimo is definitely stating. Now, I said that he's going to have just power, just straight power. That's what's going to win for his fight. Teofimo has already stated that you're going to see something special and something different, indicating that he is not going to just go with what you've seen in the past with just straight power, that he's going to show you that he has more than power, that he has the skills and the power to overcome the tactician that is Lomanchenko. Now, we all know Lomanchenko's power isn't there. His power comes from the precise spot where he throws his punches and the angles he throws at. I think if you see Lomanchenko stop moving, that is when Teofimo is actually winning the fight. If Lomo keeps moving to his left, his right, sidestepping the whole 9 yards, if he's strafing around, hitting him from different angles, even if you think the fight you can't really tell which way it's going, I think that's the advantage to Loma. So if he stops Loma from moving, that's when Teofimo is probably the one who's leading the fight at that point.
Let me ask you guys this too. I don't know if what kind of factor this plays into your guys' decisions, but the judges and the referee were announced. The referee is going to be Russell Mora is going to be the referee. The 3 judges are going to be Tim Cheatham, Julie Letterman, and Steve Weisfeld. Does that have any play into no Adelaide Bird, so we don't have to worry about that.
Thank God.
Does the referee play into this fight at all or not? Russell Mora?
I actually don't know much about anything about Russell Mora. Is that a familiar name to you, Rich?
No, I don't think the ref has anything to do with this.
Well, the only thing.
Go ahead.
All right, the only reason I brought it up is because you were talking about possibly a stoppage when he got him on the ropes, and depending on the referee, there's a lot of referees that let things go a little longer. I don't know much about Russell Mora, to tell you the truth. I don't know, but I was just curious if you guys knew anything about him, if that would affect early stoppages or anything like that.
If you got something to say, Rich,
Yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
I don't think there will be any early stoppages. I think the ref is going to play his role, and he's going to know his role, and he's going to shut his mouth like The Rock told him to. I think he will do it. He will do what he's supposed to do and be invisible the entire fight. The fight needs a stoppage. He'll get in there at the appropriate time, but this is not a fight you just stop. I don't know how to put it. There are some fights you can just stop, but on a title fight like this, you gotta let this one go. You gotta be as invisible as possible. I expect this referee to do just that.
All right, let me bring it on to the next part of this. That you
Well,
have something to say, Judge?
Judges,
I'm
the
sorry.
judges.
Oh,
I got something to say about the judges.
Okay.
Cheatham has had like 450 fights, right? If you want to talk about a guy who's got some tenure in this game, that's Steve Weisfeld, man. 1,600 fights plus, 80 championship bouts. These two guys, they're definitely not going to. They're going to come to
terrible name
play.
for a judge, by the way. Cheatham. That's just terrible.
Well, maybe I'm saying it wrong. Chatham. I don't know.
No, it's Cheatham. It's Cheatham.
However you want to say it. I don't know. Maybe there's an asterisk or something, or a ampersand. I don't know. Ampersand's an and. I don't know. I don't know. Now I'm going off topic, man. But I don't think. I think the judges. I think those are good judges. I think those are good judges.
Is Julie Letterman? Is she related to?
Yes, it's his daughter.
Is it his wife? His daughter.
His daughter.
Okay, Jim.
Okay, Jim.
Julie's his daughter. Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, it's good that we have Letterman back on TV at least at some point.
She's pretty good.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. Something I want to talk about a little bit too is what does a loss mean for both of these guys? A loss is devastating for both of them in theory, but I want to know. We'll start with Lopez because he's the young one. What does a loss mean for Lopez? Filthy Rich, we'll start with you.
A loss means he's moving on to a different division. That's it, which he was going to move on anyways. So he loses this fight. He loses this fight. I don't think it's going to be by stoppage. It'll be by decision, and it'll just be time to move on to 140 where he locks up with somebody. I'm not sure yet. I would think like a Mikey Garcia would make a lot of sense, or even a Manny Pacquiao, but I don't think those fights are going to be – I don't think those fights are going to happen because of the politics involved with boxing. But his career, he still has 10 years left. Easy 10 years. This loss shouldn't deter anything. I'm still going to be watching Teofimo Lopez for years to come.
James?
I like Teofimo Lopez. I did before. I think this is a fight where fighters are fighting the best, and I can't wait to see it. A loss for Teofimo, it's just a loss, man. He's 22. Like Rich said, he can easily go up, probably all the way up to 154, given how big his size is. Even Loma has stated that Teofimo's arms, his biceps and triceps are 3 times bigger than his, right? So that is a man who is definitely, if he's fighting at 135, that maybe he doesn't need to be at 135 right now. So he might be stretching it to get down there. I think if was that?
No, go ahead.
A loss for Lopez is way less detrimental than a loss for Lomanchenko, but because he's got his whole life ahead of him.
That's what I was going to ask you now.
32.
Is that I was going to transition that into what's a loss mean for Lomanchenko? Does it hurt his legacy at all, or what does it mean? I mean, he's at the tail end of his career, obviously. Judge, what do you think?
I think it hurts. I don't think it's. I mean, tail end of his career. He's 32 years old. I mean, he had 400 amateur fights. He's only got 15 fights in the pros. So it's. I mean, It's a bummer. He came in here to
Bummer.
take belts and unified championships. So one interesting fact is this is the first time that you will have, regardless of the winner, is going to have a 4-belt lightweight. The first time in lightweight that everyone is going to have 4 belts. Oh wait, that might be a lie. He's the 4th lightweight to claim all 4 belts.
Filthy Rich, what do you think a loss means to Lomanchenko?
I don't think it means much. I don't think he's at the tail end of his career. He's kept himself in good shape. He's fought the best opponents, and he's beaten the snot out of everyone. I think he has about 5 more years left. I think this Lopez fight this guy's just big. He's just too big for him. So a loss to a guy who's probably a weight class ahead of you doesn't do much. I think he's fine, but he will continue his career. He'll stay in his division, still beat the big names at 135 as Lopez moves forward. In theory, if Lomachenko loses this, I do have to mention this. I would have Canelo at number 1 pound for pound at that point.
I'd be forced to agree with you as well. All right, prediction time here, boys. I don't want just the winner. I want how it happens and what round. James, we'll start with you since you were in the Team Lomachenko shirt. I guess you're going to pick Lomanchenko to win, but let's hear your prediction.
Yes, I will. I'm going to correct my last statement since I stumbled around it like a dummy. This is the first 4-belt lightweight fight the sport has ever had. Loma is the 4th lightweight to claim 3 belts in the division. So now that that's out of the way, Loma's going to win. I think it is going to go to decision. I think it's I don't like saying it. I think it's going to be a split decision.
Split decision.
I think it's going to be a split decision for Lomanchenko, and I think it's going to be real close, like 115, 113 through 2 and 1, and 1's going to be for Lopez and 2 are going to be for Loma.
Filthy Rich.
I'm going to go with Lomachenko late, maybe 11th round stoppage.
Oh,
Yeah.
Stoppage. All right.
What?
No, go ahead.
Never mind. It was going to be something even not important. What do you think, Raider Live?
We were going to have a dough there. Is what you're saying? The birthday boy is going to get his first dough?
Nope. Gonna rip on cider or something like that. Don't worry about it.
Right on. God. Here's where I'm going to go with. I'm going to take approach of I'm going to call Lomachenko wins by no moss, quit on the stool, 10th round. That's what I'm going to say.
Do you think a no moss is happening?
I don't
Lopez.
think
A no moss against Lopez?
Lopez.
Have you seen?
Hey, this is my prediction segment, James. You be quiet over there. I think Lopez is gonna get a bad cut. I think he's gonna get a bad cut, and I think he's gonna quit on the stool in the 10th round. I think they're gonna the corner's gonna throw in the towel. Maybe he doesn't want to quit, but the corner's gonna quit him in the 10th round and protect the fighter. That's what I think is going to happen. Hey,
yeah, but like when you
do you know his father?
Exactly. Fathers never throw in the towel on their kids. I don't recall any father ever throwing in the towel on their own kid, and especially this father.
Ivan Drago threw in the towel on his kid in Creed 2.
Well, this father is I don't want to call him a nut job. I don't want Tio coming after me, but this father is not putting the towel in on his son. Not for this fight.
Well, if it happens the way I predicted, then you guys are going to be bowing at my feet on next week's show, and I'm going to be loving it. But I like to go out there a little bit. You're not showing up.
Teofimo is backing up his dad's crap talk right now, so there is no way that Teofimo or that Lopez Sr. throws in the towel in this fight. I will bet you money.
But
I will men's warehouse that. I guarantee it.
Well, that's what I'm calling. I'm calling a no-mas stoppage in the 10th from the corner. He doesn't answer the bell for the 11th.
You must like Tecate.
It's growing on me. I'm on my 3rd now. It is a little rough, though. I'm not going to lie about that. All right, so I'm very excited for this. You need to check us out tomorrow for this. You're listening to this on Friday. Hopefully, we're going to have a pre-show Saturday. We're going to hopefully have a pre-show. We'll definitely have our post-show interviews about what we think happened. Filthy Rich, what do you got?
I guess before we close out tonight, there was a couple songs that I grew up with. Guava Jelly, made famous by Bob Marley, and Merry Go Round, both on a Johnny Nash album, who we lost last week. Johnny Nash, most famously known for I Can See Clearly Now. We also lost Eddie Van Halen, and just recently Joe Morgan. A drink to you guys.
Drink to that. All right, Judge Jimmy James, what do you got?
The champ is here. A little Jada Kiss for you. Why don't you drop that down? 2004. Listen to that. That's a good entrance music.
The champ is here.
You need to check us out on all of our podcasts, on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, any smart speaker. Just say, hey, Google, play Bruising Boxing. You can also see us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and our brand new Instagram account. Check us out. Follow, like, subscribe.
Yeah, you get to see me make a story on Instagram today. That was a lot of fun to do. And all right, boys, I'm very excited. I can't wait to see you guys on Saturday here for the biggest fight of the year. Make sure you guys tune in to the podcast, and we're probably going to go on Facebook Live and maybe Instagram Live and maybe YouTube Live. I'm not sure yet. On a pregame show, it'll probably be short because we've covered pretty much everything here already. And then definitely post-game, we're going to have a exclusive podcast only post-game, just like we did the last time. Only on podcast, so you make sure you subscribe to us on your favorite podcast channel. All right, boys, I can't wait to see you. Biggest fight of the year. Christmas is right around the corner. It's Lomanchenko Lopez. I can't wait till Lopez no mas is in the corner. For Judge Jimmy James and Filthy Rich, I am Raider Live. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys next week.